It's 20 till 9 in the evening. It's Wednesday, 10th of September. I am in Warsaw. I'm staying with Olga, a film director, at this gorgeous hotel, Chopin Hotel, until tomorrow. And tomorrow we've been on this documentary film trip and home concert trip now for actually exactly 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago when I arrived in Olga's home in France. And tomorrow we are taking a train to Kyiv in Ukraine. And then we're gonna spend the weekend there, and then early next week I'm flying back home to London. But actually, I don't feel like talking about the trip right now. It's interesting how I'm trying to. There's this weird sadness and feeling of overwhelm that comes from like sometimes when I'm really tuned in, and for example when we are really locked in, for example now with Olga doing this, it makes sense. I'm focused and driven. And the same thing I've been organizing for my album release, this little kind of invitation only thing. And when I've been kind of like planning this and like tweaking the invitation, I'm like, yeah, this is amazing and this is such a great idea and I'm so excited. And then for a number of reasons today, we've had kind of like an office day today, booking some train tickets, making some plans, reaching out to some people. I spent some time on social media, reaching out to a couple of people on LinkedIn and on Facebook, etc. And somehow it just like, it's interesting how fast that flood and flow of things and events and after each other, another kind of just like throws you off. And suddenly I feel like I don't matter. What I've done with my life doesn't matter. That it's useless. That everything I don't know. And it's interesting because I don't think this relates to kind of being a bit tired or I had a little stomach bug the other night and I've been recovering from that as well. But somehow I don't, honestly, and this definitely doesn't relate to us going to Kyiv, because obviously that at some point we had to actually reconsider whether we even should go there. But we had conversations with people there with whom we understood what the situation actually is, and we decided to go on with the plan. But so this has nothing, like I was actually like before starting this recording, I kind of wanted to check in with myself that this definitely isn't a reaction to that, but more just like it somehow feels like my music and what I do feels that I'm trying to find the right words. It feels, even this feels very kind of narcissistic and egoistic and pretentious and pushy, that everything needs to be marketed and wrapped and documented, and at the same time that is also the creative practice and this is the communication. And I know thanks to certain people on the other side of the screen that I also know that this matters, and again also that I'm not doing this to anybody else. I honestly feel like a future version of me would appreciate these bits of document. And it's really important, especially now that I remind myself about that, because I am questioning filming this and making this right now a lot. And it's interesting also because we've had very, very important, wonderful moments in the concerts, and time and again, and concert after concert, people are moved by my performances and my songs and my energy, yet at the same time I feel quite lonely and unsupported, and kind of that if I don't do something, nobody will, and if I am not pushing and contacting people and reaching out and nothing will ever happen. And I think also it's a good reminder that that's exactly why I'm doing these, and also why I'm writing my newsletter that is coming out tomorrow again. So I guess these little practices, even though this is not that fancy social media, the same thing happened as last week. But yeah, so it's these practices like this, and like my newsletter, and I guess I hope that there's something in these that is the core essence of my both intellectual and emotional craft, and that it is through practices like these that eventually the actual main thing will kind of flourish out of, and also that the audience will find me, because I have to admit that it's so hard to remain and remember how to stay authentic and truthful to yourself and what you wanna say, do, be, and accepting that those can also vary, and at the same time understand that kind of like the time and world that we're existing right now, that in order to actually do the things you want to do and we want to do and accomplish, finish what you start, that in order to do that, usually you need other people to be involved. And in order to get other people involved and excited or interested in a way, because there's so much of noise, and I'm sure I'm not the only one feeling this overwhelmed and getting this feeling from the constant flood of things. So actually, I guess as I'm now wrapping up, maybe that is what I'm taking away today. That I just need to remain consistent in these practices, and the people will come and the work will come, and it's all gonna come. But right now, and interesting that now in this slowness of today's video journal, I feel like a kind of tap is being opened, because suddenly I feel like I would have so much more to say, much more clarity. But this is the 11-minute practice.